Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Environment and Performance Committee. My name is Councillor Claire Ryalott, and I'm the chairman of this committee. My vice chairman has tabled her apologies for this evening's meeting, and as such, I've asked Councillor Anton Danny to assist me in the role for tonight. Before we move to the agenda this evening, our housekeeping rules are as follows. Restroom facilities are available on this floor for the ladies and down the main stairwell for the gentlemen. In the event of the fire alarm sounding, officers will escort all attendees to the nearest safety point. May I ask that all persons addressing this meeting do so clearly through the microphone system at all times. I would at this point remind all persons in attendance that this meeting is being streamed live. Please be advised that abuse or intimidation of any kind will not be tolerated. Anyone who is deemed to breach this requirement will be warned and asked to refrain. And if the behaviour persists, they will be asked to leave the meeting. That concludes the housekeeping rules, and we will now move straight into part one of this evening's agenda and address the preliminary items. Item 1, apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chairman. We have apologies from Councillor Alison Austin, with Councillor Stephen Woodliff substituting. Further apologies from Councillor Alina Savickian and from Councillor Neil Drayton. Also, formal apologies from the lead officer for the committee, the Assistant Director of Regulatory, with the Assistant Director for Leisure and Culture substituting. Thank you.
And to sign the minutes of the last meeting held on the 19th of December, do members agree the minutes, please? Thank you. To receive declarations of interest in respect of any item on the agenda, does any member of the committee wish to declare any interest in any item on the agenda? And to answer any public questions?
No questions, Chairman. No questions.
Thank you. That concludes the preliminary items. We will now move on to part 2 of tonight's agenda. Our first item of business this evening is the markets provision, which is on page 7 of the agenda and will be presented by the portfolio holder, Councillor Dale Broughton, supported by our interim Cultural Services Manager, Rachel Rowett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This report seeks to provide an overview of how Boston's regular Wednesday and Saturday markets have been performing and its proposed actions for the further development of the service. The Council's markets are required to conform to the requirements of charters granted in 1308 for weekly Wednesday and Saturday markets and 1545 through Boston's Charter of Incorporation. Boston Borough Council has responsibility for a market that takes place twice a week on a Wednesday and a Saturday in the marketplace. Markets are an important and historic part of Boston as a market town. The market service is delivered through a shared manager with South Holland, an officer who also provides support to town events, and a team of stall erectors who support the market officer with setup and takedown of the markets each week. The markets operate through a market policy which sets out their management and the responsibilities of both the council and the traders. The policy is attached as Appendix A. The current pitch fees, with the exception of Bourne, are the cheapest in comparison in the area. Boston's regular traders pay £22 per stall or £1.50 per foot of frontage, while casual traders pay £25 and £2 per foot frontage. The council has an aim to move the market service towards a break-even position and find savings year on year, and the partnership alignment and annual delivery plan include 2 projects for the Boston market service to undertake during the 2023-24 financial year. 1, to review the markets policy and to undertake a review of the market service, and 2, to deliver savings whilst also growing the market service. The Boston Market Service is an important council asset which is managed within the Leisure and Culture Division of the Communities Directorate. Appendix 2 of your report details a proposed action plan for Boston Market, which has been developed to support economic, efficient and effective service delivery. The service is therefore also reviewing its operation, and the development and action plan has been drafted in order to achieve these outcomes and seeks to focus on delivering modern traditional markets that are cost efficient, delivering the best value for money, delivering vibrant, attractive markets that appeals to visitors and residents alike, attracting new young traders, increasing marketing activity and working with the council's events teams and local partners to add value to markets with entertainment and events. The action plan has been developed around 4 key objectives, each supporting a number of key strategic actions. These are to deliver a sustainable market service and become financially resilient, to deliver modern markets improving both infrastructure and delivery, the Boston Market Service becoming known for its specialist markets and events, and the market service is successfully promoted and well marketed. The plan also incorporates timescales to work to and outcomes in order to deliver the actions against their strategic objectives and measure their effectiveness. Monitoring of the actions will be reported on a monthly basis to portfolio holder meetings and quarterly to members through the council's performance monitoring processes. The current lead officers to ensure delivery against the plan are the markets manager, the interim cultural services manager, and the Assistant Director for Leisure and Culture. The Boston Market Action Plan has been developed as a live document to be continually updated and developed in order to support accountability within the service to strategically and operationally deliver what is required from this important borough asset, and currently is being worked on with several meetings happening or have happened ahead of their timelines indicated. The action plan has been developed to facilitate residents and visitors in deriving as much benefit as possible from the Boston markets while achieving its strategic aims of becoming sustainable. Recommendations are for the committee to consider the report and appendices and provide feedback on the action plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Broughton. Do we have any questions, observations? Who would like to start? Thank you, Councillor Woodley. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, it's a good report, Councillor Broughton, but I suppose the thing really is about this is that traders only come to Boston if they can make a profit. That's really the key, isn't it? If I were running a business and I was going to come here, I'd want to be sure that I could make a profit out of coming here. I think that's the really important thing. I read through the document and I am concerned about the publicity side of things, so the publicity to attract new applicants. I know you're doing social media and it's Facebook and that type of thing, but we may have to go further than that. If we want people to come here to sell things, we need to maybe look at the trade magazines, yeah, so that we can perhaps pick up traders who would want to come. Because I'm sure that there may be many people in the area maybe want to set up a stall, but may not have anything to sell as such. And the key thing is having things to sell, isn't it? And at the right price, so you can make a profit. And I think the market depends upon that side of things. It needs to attract the right type of traders, people who've got products to sell, and we've got to publicise the fact it exists. Well, it's the Facebook and the social media is fine, but maybe we need to go further than that, as I've mentioned. The other thing is that I noticed that you want to attract young people to it. That's fine. But some of us who are not quite so young, might like also to be included in it. So perhaps we need to be careful that we're not ageist in our approach to it, because I think we need to have people with experience come here, as well as people who are young and enthusiastic. Well, I can be enthusiastic. I'm in my 70s. I can be enthusiastic, and obviously not quite as mobile as perhaps as some others. But nevertheless, that's something I think we need to think about. So we're looking about perhaps making sure that we attract people from all ages to come and work, to come and sell here. But the publicity needs to perhaps look at specialist magazines, perhaps, or trader magazines, to try and attract traders. People perhaps go to Northampton Market or whatever, or might go to Market Harbour Market, whatever. You might be worthwhile doing some research from councils and so on, perhaps to go to some of these markets to see who's trading there and to find out whether they like to come to Boston, because there is money to be made here, and it's just a question of perhaps attracting perhaps people who would want to come. So that's my take on it. I think the charges are fine, actually. Personally, I wouldn't change any of those. I think they're okay. I think the stats is okay again. Ups and downs, but that's to do with the weather, isn't it? Really, we can't really change any of that. Seeing outside, so we have to live with that, and that would affect everybody. I think markets up and down the country. So I don't really have any problems with the occupancy rates and so on. That seemed oddly put forward essentially. It is what it is, I suspect. But perhaps you just need to perhaps look further forward. Maybe we need to investigate what happens at Northampton, say, or Leicester Market, very big market, what happens there. And maybe we can pick up some ideas and maybe encourage the people to come. And that's really all I've got to say. So thank you, Councillor Broughton, for a very good report. And while reading it, it's very, very thorough. I'm not going to comment on the conditions. It's not my thing. That's an officer business. So I'll leave that all out. It's just the how do we get people to come, really? Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Councillor Gilbert.
Yeah, I think Councillor Woodliff was referring to the bottom bullet point on 2.3, and I just put a note in the margin there to say Boston Market will continue to grow its identity across the borough and beyond. You know, I think it's important that we do at least sort of acknowledge the fact that we do need to try and extend the reach of our advertising about the market beyond the borough itself. But otherwise, I think it's a good report. I had a look at some of the action points. I'm quite impressed with the idea of moving the wide Bargate or the Bargate Green market into the main market. I think that's going to create more of a buzz, more of a vibe, particularly if you've got the auctioneer there as well. That always adds to a good market feel. And on that theme of sort of the feel of the market, I was wondering whether or not there's any possibility of, I don't know, encouraging busking, maybe sort of during the summer and the spring, some sort of creating a sort of stage area where young people can perform, do some singing and that sort of thing, kind of create a bit of a carnival atmosphere. I'd imagine when Boston Market was first granted its charter back in the Middle Ages, you know, there was an awful lot of stuff going on, jugglers, you know, fire breathers and what have you. And maybe the secret with Boston Borough is to try and go back to something that sort of slightly resembles something of that sort. Yeah, and so, you know, they're my sort of contributions to the debate. Just one query. It's clearly stated in here that it's mandatory for stall holders to have £5 million worth of public liability insurance. And I have public liability insurance because of what I do to occasionally earn a living. But I don't have £5 million worth. And I just wonder whether £5 million might act as a deterrent to some stall holders coming in, you know, locating to the market, and whether that compares with other markets around the country who also require £5 million worth of public liability insurance. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Councillor Gilbert. Obviously, I've got a food background, and I think 5 million's the standard figure, which, to be honest, it's not actually very expensive to get the 5 million anyway. But regarding your points about the auction, we've been thinking about this for quite a while, and it hasn't built up. So our idea is to put the auction into the main market, because one, when the auction's on, you've got more people round there to start with. So, obviously, when they're coming off the buses near Boots, the first thing you're going to see is quite a few people in the town. So it's going to look busier straight away. Also, regarding your entertainment, we do through the summer have entertainment on the Saturday. We do have jugglers, stilt walkers, things like that. But we also, in the teenage market, are encouraging youngsters like dance schools and singers, potentially buskers, who want to come on that as well. So that's something we can look at and maybe extend a bit further through the summer. Regarding your points, Councillor Woodliff, about ageism, the teenage markets are specifically for that. They are for that age group. So, and out of that, it has been a great success. The next teenage market on the 24th is already fully booked. And also on the 24th of March, the next one is, I think we've got 7 out of the 10 stalls already accounted for. Plus, to bring new businesses into the town, we are looking at also, we've got a farmers market this week. We're also looking at craft markets, and I do know that the markets manager is looking at going out to other areas to look at stalls and hopefully make contact with them, because we do have quite a few stall holders at the moment from Leicester and Loughborough anyway. So hopefully we get in contact with them, getting more people in. We want a wider range of stalls as well, which we are working hard on. So all these things are getting took into account, and we are thinking about them all. But thank you for your points.
Councillor Izzard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Great report, Dal. I'll go alongside whatever's said. It's very comprehensive and very good. There's just a couple of points that I want assurance on or whatever. The first one on page 13, 10.1. The figure from South Holland District Council, is that increased yearly or is that a fixed rate? Do we know?
So the budget is set annually, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't increase year on year. Is that right, Phil? Sorry.
13.
Page 13, 10.1.
Yeah, the actual 113 is actually to do with salaries, which is apportioned across the authorities. So it's a shared post. So a proportion of that salary will come into the Boston budget.
Okay, that's fine. And as touched on before from Councillor Gilbert, so 5 million is the public liability insurance. Do the teenage market holders have to produce a 5 million public liability insurance as well?
As far as I know, no.
Okay, fine. And on page 19, 11.5, regarding the statement there, I take it that means the main political parties or anyone that might be standing towards election. But does it also include campaign groups? Because I do remember the SOS campaign group, when we was trying to stop services moving out of Pilgrim Hospital, had a market stall once. Do you mean those kind of campaigning groups as well? Say someone wanted to stop the pylons, or is it just the main political parties like Boston Independence, Labour, Green Party, Reform, etc.?
Yeah, it includes all that as well, Councillor Izard. So it is not just the political parties, but also what you've been describing as well.
Okay. Is there any way that we could re-look at that? Because sometimes campaigning could be a benefit for Boston. I look back to the SOS campaign and I kind of feel that that was great in the way it raised awareness and we was fighting for our own services. So I don't know whether you can take that back and have a look at whether that can be included. And really the last one, again, coming back to Mike's point on the auctioneer coming back into the main area, where do you foresee him setting up in that sense of the word?
We are sorting that out next week. The actual markets manager's on leave this week, but we will be sorting that out the next couple of weeks. But we're envisaged somewhere around the Savers area around there. So not actually, it'll be at the end of the market where at the minute there's nobody. We've got a snack bar there and then there's nothing in that area there. So that'll be there. It'll all be barriered off and safe. So that's the area we're looking at, but we'll confirm that when I spoke to the markets manager next week. Okay.
And does he set up earlier than normal than the other market stall holders?
He'll be there from 6:30, but everything will be set up ready for him anyway.
Okay. And the last thing on page 25, item 26, there's new vape laws hopefully coming in soon. And we do have at least one market stall holder that sells vapes. Are we ready to govern and to make sure that he adheres to any kind of new laws?
Obviously, market traders are governed by the same rules as shop owners and everybody else. So, yeah, if the rules are coming in, they will have to adhere to them as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Izard. Councillor Welbury.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think it's all about footfall, getting people actually into the marketplace. You can have as many stalls as you like, but if people are frightened to come into Boston or have no wish to come into Boston, you can't make them. So I would like to see, it's a good report, but I'd like to see more focus on actually encouraging footfall. By that I mean maybe if the auction is moved into the marketplace, actually charging £1 on a Wednesday in the Bargate Green area, because that is revenue that we wouldn't have had anyway. So, you know, by charging £1 on market times during that day, it might encourage more people in. Also, such things as crafters challenge, charity challenges, whereby you have more than one charity stall. You probably have 4 or 5, because they have people that will come and support the charity. So you have more people actually coming into the marketplace. Councillor Gilbert's idea is a good one, whereby you have a bandstand for people to come in. So it's all about attracting people in, and then they'll spend money at the stalls. Having stalls per se, I don't think would attract people in. There has to be more of a hook to get people in. I know I bang on about it every time, but window vinyls are another thing. I mean, there's nothing worse than coming in and seeing some of the rundown windows that we have. We've got to make it a more vibrant place to want to come to. And also Councillor Danny and his cafe culture, you know, more chairs and tables outside. I don't know what the law is regarding that, but to make it more of a culture, so that you're not relying solely on your traders. You have actually, you know, infrastructure around to support them and their trading. Just some ideas there that I'd like to see sort of focused on in this report.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. Actually, in the report, it does say about pavement licences for chairs and tables, and also in the report, it is a long-term plan, which we are looking at, hopefully getting the buses to come back with the tourists through the summer. We are going to be focusing on that as well, to get as many people into the town. Regarding the decal on the windows and that, we have got Operation Plotting, which has been going on for several months now, which is to sort the town out, obviously make it look more attractive. And also, you said about fear about coming into the town, obviously trying to get the crime figures and everything down as well. So that is in the report, and that's what we are looking at as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Welbury. With you all the way. We need to get people into the town, but sadly more and more shops seem to be closing, which isn't helping matters at the moment. But yeah, well done, Councillor Broughton. It is a good report. Councillor Marson.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, Councillor Welbury did touch on some of the things that I was going to say, but the bit about charities, are the local charities, are they aware that they can have a stall once a year on the market? Are they aware of that? Are we telling them that, as in the Men's Shed and maybe the local Scout group or any local charities, apart from obviously the charity shops we've already got, that they can go there and use it once a year? And it is a good report.
Yeah, well, we usually have at least one charity. We have one charity stall on the markets nearly every single market day, so they are all aware. But again, we can put that out to all the local charities. That's not a problem at all. So yeah, we can look at that as well.
Thank you, Councillor Pryke.
Thank you. I was going to ask about the tourist trade from the coast, which seemed to die off during COVID and hasn't recovered. We don't seem to be getting as well. Last summer, we didn't seem to have as many tourist coaches from the East Coast coming in on a Wednesday as we have had in previous years. Does any council staff member stick around the bus station on a Wednesday morning in particular to basically tell tourists who've never been here before what to do and where to go and all the rest of it? That's one question. The other question is, obviously we're going to be looking at the market and what happens to it over the next few months with these rather good plans, and in particular moving the auction site and the other stalls from Bargate Green down into the main marketplace. How many places do we actually have at the moment, or will we have, if the auction does, or when the auction moves to the main marketplace as available? So we've got 58% occupancy on the Wednesday market or less on the Wednesday green market. on these stats for 22-23. But how many places do we actually have available for traders from elsewhere who may be enticed to come to us? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Councillor Price. No, we don't. The quick answer is no, we don't have anybody stood in the bus stations at the moment because obviously there's no tourism buses coming in, just the normal Borough Lane buses and stagecoach as well. Obviously, if we get the tourist buses coming in, we will be then like approaching them to direct them into the town and the different facilities and all that. We are also looking at hopefully getting like a little leaflet put out to train stations, bus stations and all that. That again, that's in the plan to encourage more tourism because obviously people from Skegness or people who's coming in on the trains, if we can see that, that's all going to encourage everybody to hopefully come to Boston. There is facility for 54 stalls on the market. Just to add as well, obviously, when the auction and the traders who's on the green at the moment move, that then will become back to the car park, which will then increase the revenue for the council as well.
Thank you. Councillor Izzard.
Thank you. Just coming back, Dale, obviously you agreed that the 5 million public liability insurance isn't covered by the teenage market stalls, but hopefully the Boston Borough Council would cover anything happening in that sense.
Yeah, that will all be covered. It's because the teenage market are not actually like traders all the time. It's just getting them into the feel of how the markets work. But we have had two who have actually gone from the teenage market onto the normal market, and they are all got the public liability and everything.
Absolutely great, and it's a great way of growing the market. So don't forget that. I'm just making sure that we are covered in case of any incident happening.
Thank you. Councillor Gilbert.
Thank you. One final observation, really. There's reference in the report to competition from car boot sales, and it's clear that there are certain requirements that we impose on those people organising car boot sales that prohibits them interfering with our Boston markets. I'm just wondering whether there's any scope to sort of incorporate into the Boston Saturday and Wednesday markets something that's a bit like a car boot sale. In other words, people can hire a stall at short notice and sell knickknacks and bits and bobs that they want to get rid of from their garage. So essentially, we're going out and we're competing with the car boot sales rather than necessarily seeing the car boot sales as unfortunate competition for ourselves.
Obviously, anybody can stand on the market. So as long as they can be classed as a casual trader, as long as they have got the liability and also have completed the relevant paperwork in the past, there's nothing to stop people like that coming onto the market if there's stalls available for them.
You got the point about the £5 million public liability insurance, sort of making it a little bit more sort of flexible in the same way maybe we do for the teenage market, but just to sort of fill up the stalls and create that sort of that vibrant sort of environment, that vibrant atmosphere. It's just a thought, but.
Thank you. Do we have any further questions from anybody or observations? Ooh, two more now.
Thank you, Chairman. Going back onto the mention of like the car boot competition, etc., because I know that we do get competition advertised. I know that there's some old ancient law that says that we can't have a car boot in the marketplace. Is there nothing that can be done about that? So we could sort of like maybe have a big car boot on a Sunday in the marketplace to bring people into town? Because I think you find when people come in, like if people that are new that are coming into town for the first time will probably keep coming back into town after that because they'll see what a nice town we've actually got and want to visit more. I mean, I know it's an old law, but the old law isn't helping us now, is it? Do you know what I mean? We've got to move forward. Thank you. Yeah.
I will have to ask Phil about that, but the only thing is on a Sunday that the marketplace is back to being the car parks and that. So to have anything in the marketplace on a Sunday, you'd have to get road closures and everything else in. But I don't know if Phil will be able to answer.
Yes, so Chair, it is because it's a highway. The charter is what we work to. There is a policy for car boots within the borough, and at the moment that's what we adhere to. And it's to close off the marketplace for events on Sunday requires a lot more than just cars pulling up and selling. So at this point, it's not something we've looked at because we work under the charter.
So if the marketplace, obviously, as you say, it's a lot more complicated, could we not use a car park then for that, on one car park on one Sunday in town?
Charities are able to have, there is a policy to follow which our colleagues in regulatory services manage, and people can apply to have a car boot periodically, but there is a number allowed, and if they would contact the council, they will be able to find out exactly what the permissions are.
Sorry. Is that with a Boston Borough Council car park then, or?
Not the Boston Borough Council car park. I mean, there have been car boots in places like Tesco's before, in other sites,
Yeah.
and not on market days.
No.
On market days, there will be no car boots within 6 2/3 miles of Boston Town Centre.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Danny.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a few observations. I think Dale, I think Councillor Broughton is doing her job, and we will support you, I think, and we will give you any ideas, needed too. The only thing we didn't touch on, I think, and it's very important, and most of the stall holders, the complaint sometimes about it is toilet available for them. So they found it very hard to go to places. From myself, I offer my facilities to the public and anybody who want to use it. However, the people who are on the other side, sometimes they found it difficult to leave the stalls. Have we thought about anything which can help them, to probably just have that kind of luxury during the market day?
We have looked at portable loos, but again, it's all down to the cost issues. Also, I do know that the markets team have been to different premises in the past and tried and got a relationship going with businesses about using their toilet facilities.
Councillor Welbury.
St Bottles is a public toilet. The church itself, the toilets in the church can be used by the public, so they can be used by the traders. I didn't realise that until recently. So,
Thank you. Councillor Pryke.
It's a follow-on question from the 6 2/3 mile regulation about competition for the market under the charter. Does that apply to all private land within 6 2/3 miles of the marketplace, or just, as it were, public land?
No, it's literally as it states. No car boot sales to be held on Wednesday, Saturday on any land. Our licensee do speak to to people who have actually tried to undertake that, to put a car boot set in on those days, and generally people have adhered to it. We don't try to, we try to work with people where we can, but it is part of the charter for Boston.
I realise the issue came up at the parish council liaisons meeting. Anne was there and can attest to that. But there was a discussion later amongst parish councillors who were there and other parish councillors who heard about it afterwards, pointing out that they understand that a number of car boot sales happen on non-market days within that boundary.
Yeah, in terms of the actual charter, it's on market days that so it's no car boot sales shall be held on a Wednesday or Saturday within. Yeah. Thank you.
Anybody else got any questions? Everybody's happy and finished asking questions. I think well done everybody. A lot has been asked there. I think we have challenged the report and we have provided some feedback for the action plan. So thank you, Councillor Broughton. Our second item of business this evening is the overview of the CCTV function at Boston Borough Council. This is on page 59 of the agenda and will be presented by the portfolio holder, Councillor Andorian, supported by our Assistant Director for Wellbeing, Communities and Leadership, Emily Spicer, and our CCTV Manager, Andrew Hall.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I've got a PowerPoint to start with. I can't take credit for this. It's Emily's work and Andrew's work. However, I am going to present it. So what we've tried to do is address the issues that were raised by the chairman when this was brought forward as part of your work programme. Oh.
So sorry.
There we go. Okay, so the CCTV suite, I know many of you have been in the suite. So we support 300 cameras across 4 district council areas, which is ourselves, South Holland, East Lindsey and North Kesteven. You can see there's 16 large screens that form a video wall, and each of those screens can then be split into smaller screens. So you can see actually on there that some of those large screens are split into 4s or 6s or even 8s. That's up to each of the operators to decide. Regarding the CCTV maintenance, I know that was an issue. We have got a contractor in place at the moment, and they come along and do the routine maintenance once a week. But they do have remote access into every single camera to do quick fixes. I know that quite recently one fault was fixed within an hour, but the standard service procedure is that they would at least be looked at within 4 hours. The faults are all reported through a portal, and we are currently looking at a new maintenance contract that's got to be in situ, ready to start in August this year. So that will go through the normal procurement system. Now, the Safer Streets funding round 4, which I know some of you will be aware of, was a Home Office grant. And I want you to know that the staff are always on the lookout for grant funding. They're always bidding wherever they can. And we were successful, or the previous administration rather was successful in getting just shy of £400,000. And that upgraded many cameras in our district, as well as Skegness and Spalding. The 2 towns I've just mentioned are already sorted. Our improvements are underway. Some cameras are in situ and are already showing much clearer definition, high quality pictures, and the work goes on and will be complete, similarly to the maintenance contract, be complete for the end of August. And there's an example of the camera upgrades where you can see there's quite a lot going on there, but Andrew's quite helpfully told us what everything does, and I'm not going to read it out to you. You can read for yourself that we've got multiple HD cameras, we've got the wireless antennae, and then we've got this movable and zoomable camera that can monitor a live incident as it's happening. And this is the actual camera located in Straight Bargate. So the next time you walk through, give Andrew a wave. He won't wave back, he'll just laugh at you. And so the hotspot cameras link to the operation plotting that I'm sure you've had briefings from Inspector Clarkson. He's mapped out these hotspot areas. We put in a funding application. Emily did a lot of work on that, and we were very successful. That came out of the Police and Crime Commissioner's Serious Violence Fund. And we are looking to put those cameras now in Wormgate, Central Park, West Street, and there's one other, oh, the Marketplace. Yeah, the Marketplace as well as the other hotspot area. I just couldn't remember that. Yep. Next one. And so these are the resources that we have. And obviously people are our biggest resource. It's no point in having that wall of cameras if there's no one there to operate them. We do offer a 24-hour-a-day coverage, 365 days a year. We've got 5 full-time staff, 5 on flexible hours and 6 weekend staff, giving us 16 bodies, if you will, 16 people that we can call on. Helpfully there, that's the annualised hours that are available, 352, sorry, not the weekly hours available, 352.5 hours of staffing available each week. So we're way over 75 hours over the number of hours in a week, really. Next one. You may have seen adverts for our trusted volunteers role, and I'm really pleased at this because we believe in volunteering. This is a partnership project with Lincolnshire Police. We've got the Safer Streets funding, we've got the hotspot policing, the operation plotting, and now we've got this. And I think it all speaks to the credibility of our partnership with Lincolnshire Police. And so what we're asking is that people who have time to spare volunteer with us in the CCTV suite. And if you move on, please. Emily's listed the benefits there, but I'm a big believer in the benefits to the volunteer and the organisation. But what we anticipate is that we get people from the community who are going to learn new skills, learn new things about the workplace. We are going to train them so they get their SIA licence. That usually costs, if they were to do it on their own, about £300. And though, if it was a young person, for instance, to speak to Councillor Woodliffe's point earlier on, if it's a young person coming in to get experience who hasn't got a job, they may end up with a situation where Andrew says, well, you're trained now, you've been volunteering for 6 months, we've actually got some hours now, would you like them? The same could apply to someone who's taken early retirement at the age of 55 and doesn't want to just sit at home and watch Richard and Judy. Are they still? No, okay. All right, we have benefits for the council, obviously. So we've got extra staff down there in the suite looking out as spotters. It can help with admin, the back office end, where the staff have to prepare packs for Lincolnshire Police, evidence packs they're called, that need to go to court. And it gives us a pool of trusted people who will have to have an enhanced DBS check. So they have to pass muster with Lincolnshire Police as well as ourselves. And the benefits for the police are they get better surveillance. They can then prioritise hotspot areas or prioritise live incidents as they unfold. They get more people reporting, which will give them better intelligence, and it gives us more data so that we can target resources. And if those of you remember Inspector Clarkson's briefings, he is a scientist by trade and he relies very heavily on his data. So that would be good. And the benefits for the community there are self-evident. It's good that we're offering these opportunities to our local community. We would be looking to encourage a diversity of people taking up the role, and it also helps improve the safety of all our public spaces. So thank you for listening. I'm happy to take any questions, and I know you'll forgive me if I defer to Andrew and Emily for anything technical that I'm not sure of. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Dorian. That was an interesting report, because when I received the paper one last week, I thought it was a little underwhelming. So you've gone into it in more depth for the committee. Thank you. I would like to ask some questions, please, if I may. We manage cameras for others, as stated. Are they informed regularly if issues are found with the cameras, either poor visibility or not working effectively, as they are paying for this service?
Yes, so on that, they have the maintenance weekly. The faults are reported and can be dealt with. They must be dealt with within 4 hours initially. There must be an initial action within 4 hours, and the contractor can access them remotely, which helps. And what was your other question? The first part of your question, sorry.
Sorry, are they told if they're not working effectively? You've answered that.
Yeah. Thank you.
The reason why I asked was when I did visit the suite, and I found the suite very, very interesting. There were cameras that were not doing the job they should be, and that parish had not been told that the camera wasn't really doing the job it should be. So poor visibility, basically. So to me, that parish is paying for that camera, but it's not providing the service. And we don't want to lose these parishes because they're bringing you money in.
Yeah, I think that was a terrible situation that happened. As we speak today, there are no cameras that are obscured. There are no cameras that are prevented from doing the role that they're there to do. So whatever happened when you visited the suite last autumn time, I think it was, that issue has been resolved. And as we speak today, every camera has the visibility that it should to allow the operator to do the job.
It probably has been resolved in the town, but I know it hasn't in the parish, because the trees need cutting down by the parish and they haven't done it. So that camera still isn't doing its job. But I have now reported it to them because they were not aware.
So sorry, could you just run that past them again? Did you report it at the time?
I've spoken to the parish now that they need to do this job for this camera to be better.
The parish needs to do the job.
Not the borough.
Right.
And they were not aware as a parish council that camera was not being effective for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's entirely accurate. Andrew, do you want to come in here?
What particular location was it? Because I'm not aware what. Yeah, I mean, I know every now and then the trees around the camera do grow up around it. We've had issues with it for quite a few years. Yeah, it's just a constant maintenance thing with trees. Yeah, we don't have a budget for cutting down trees, so when that happens, we have to try and find out who's responsible for those trees and then ask them to cut them down. So yeah, it is a constant thing all the time.
So what I'm trying to get across is, if there is an issue that the camera is not doing the job it should be, perhaps the parish councils need to be told, get your trees cut down and these cameras will be more effective. That's all I'm trying to get across.
You're absolutely right, Madam Chair. They should, and I'm shocked at what you said. I'm assuming it's wrong to assume, isn't it? But you did report it at the time, didn't you? And not leave it till today.
I didn't need to report it to anybody. I reported it to the parish council because I saw it from my own eyes. Yeah. Could you tell me if the camera that I mentioned about 6 months ago is now working, or have we still got issues? And I don't really want to mention the site, but there was one within the town that you was waiting for BT to rewire or do something to it.
I'm aware of one camera in the town centre that we were waiting for, we had problems with is it the same one we had problems with the electricity supply? Yeah, that has been remedied and sorted, and it's been operational for several months now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And I would just like to say, if you do have issues, please do contact us back if you're interested in a certain camera a week or so later. You're more than welcome to have an update on interests in terms of individual cameras rather than waiting for meetings. It's absolutely fine. Either myself, Pete Hearn or Andrew would be more than happy to help.
What is the minimum number of staff expected to work in the suite at any one time?
Okay, so you're getting into operational matters now, Madam Chair, and I'd be more than happy to arrange for you to have a briefing, but we won't be doing it in public unless you want to go into private session.
Okay, thank you very much. Obviously, there are an awful lot of cameras in there. So I think perhaps there's questions that I want to ask, so perhaps we need to go into private session.
Committee members, it's been moved by Councillor Claire Ryler. Do we have a seconder that this meeting now goes into exempt session to receive further information which is of a private and operational nature, cannot be taken in public? Is anybody happy to second? We'll move to a vote, please. All in favour, please clearly show. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Against? Abstentions? That's clearly carried then, Madam Chair, that we'll move into exempt session. As such, I need to stop the live streaming, so bear with me just one moment, please.